The National 4-H Council is recognizing one Michigan teen for her efforts to feed the food insecure in her community. Michigan Farm Bureau kicked off its policy work for the year, the Lansing Legislative Seminar, and Michigan Agricultural Commodities Chris Betts will join us with a market update. I'm Janelle Brose, and this is Farm News 5.
Farm News 5 is brought to you by Ford.
Addy Battel of Cass City, Michigan is being honored with the 2019 4-H Youth in Action Pillar Award for Agriculture. The National 4-H Council is recognizing Battel for her leadership as co-founder of Meeting the Need of Our Village, a program designed to combat food insecurity in her community.
This National 4-H Award is an opportunity for me to share my story with the youth in my area and youth across the nation. I really strive to inspire other youth to know that, at an age when there's a lot of things that we're told we can't do, we really can make a difference in our community. I'm Addy Battel. We are here at St. Agatha Food Pantry. It's through the Our Lady Consolata Catholic Parish. Meeting the need for our village began back in 2014. Cass City became a food desert. My friends and I were 12 and 13 at the time. We didn't have jobs, we couldn't drive, didn't have really much money to speak of. That we were told that there was a lot that we couldn't do, and there really was a lot that we couldn't do. We recognized that since Cass City had become a food desert, our only grocery store in town had closed down, and we now have to travel up to 15 miles to get to a grocery store in the next town over. We recognized that that was a need at the time, and there was something we wanted to do about it. There was a lot we couldn't do, but we recognized that we were all farm kids and we could raise meat. So it started with a $2,500 grant, and we raised a few chickens with that, and then from there it really became a loaves and fishes story because we had the chickens and we saw them making a difference, providing high quality nutrient dense food to food pantries who often have to rely on lower nutrient things that store well. And then other youth are involved. We've involved over 200 youth, whether that be through coming in, helping out at food pantry distributions, raising animals at their house, raising eggs at the school barn. And then also we've involved youth through educational outreach. So we again strive to really inspire other youth. Meeting the Need for Our Village has had a $54,000 impact on the community. That's through a little over 10,000 pounds of meat, 1,500 gallons of milk, and soon to be 90 dozen eggs. We talk about how that's such a big impact, but really it's a tiny little band-aid on the surface of a gaping wound, which is poverty and hunger in rural America.
Battel will receive a $5,000 scholarship for higher education and will serve as an advocate and spokesperson for 4-H agriculture programming. She will be officially recognized as the 2019 4-H Youth in Action Pillar Award winner for agriculture at the 10th Annual 4-H Legacy Awards in Washington, D.C., Tuesday, March 12th. Learn more about Addy and her work feeding the food insecure in her community by visiting the Michigan Farm Bureau channel on YouTube.
If you want a car from a company that's been building them for 115 years, get a Ford. If you want a car with driver assist technology, get a Ford. You're gonna want a Ford.
Farm Bureau members waded deep into the state policy weeds this week at Farm Bureau's annual Lansing Legislative Seminar. Members got a crash course on some of the top legislative issues facing farmers in Michigan and were able to learn some of the ins and outs of state government from deputy directors of the Department of Agriculture and Rural Development, the Department of Natural Resources, and the Department of Environmental Quality. The Silver Plow is Michigan Farm Bureau's top recognition for a member of the Michigan Legislature or U.S. Congress, signifying farmers' appreciation for leadership and support consistent with the organization's member-developed policy and beneficial to the state's farm and food sector.
This group of Silver Plow recipients receiving these awards is really amazing in the fact that we had within a series of just a few months 3 different major issues that impact all aspects of agriculture that are very important to the industry.
Now former Senator Tom Casperson of Michigan's 38th Senate District earned his Silver Plow by leading a bill package that created industry advisory panels at the Department of Environmental Quality.
Maybe we will have more of science and facts decisions than personal opinions. So I believe that this will make a big difference, especially we know everybody in agriculture sometimes do run into different issues with the DEQ. with our land and wetlands. So I think this will make a big difference.
The reason we're bringing this bill forward is because we're trying to cut.
District 81 Representative Dan Lowers is recognized for sponsoring House Bill 4561, designed to protect and defend agriculture's sales and use tax exemptions.
He's easy to get a hold of. He likes to work with the people. He calls and asks questions about issues that are going on the farm and in our industry. It's important to have somebody that understands agriculture in the state legislature.
Representative Aaron Miller, representing Michigan's 59th House District, earned his silver plow by sponsoring House Bill 5638, legislation making science-based improvements to the state's large quantity water withdrawal program.
I think he's done a great job. He's always accessible. I've certainly forged a personal relationship with him. He seems to be around when we need him to be, or he'll call and say, you know, okay, we've got this issue resolved, or we're making progress with this issue. Where do we go next? He's well-rounded enough that things outside of agriculture are important to him as well. And I think if we're going to work in the kind of communities that we all expect to live in, I think those things are important to be well-rounded.
Ensure your wishes are carried out and control the future of your farm. Visit fosterswift.com to learn about farm succession planning.
Michigan Farm Bureau also presented its annual Grassroots Lobbying Award during Lansing Legislative Seminar. The award, which goes annually to one county farm bureau for exceptional policy advocacy efforts, was presented to Ogemaw County Farm Bureau. Ogemaw County was recognized for its work to defend Michigan's Right to Farm Act in the face of a township looking to write its own rules to restrict and regulate large livestock farms. As part of the award, Ogemaw County Farm Bureau receives a $500 grant for use towards future grassroots lobbying activities. With a look at the latest market activity, here is Michigan Ag Commodities' Chris Betts.
Thanks, Janelle. Corn and wheat futures were under pressure this week from heavy fund selling ahead of First Notice Day on March contracts. Corn fell to new 5-month lows, while Chicago wheat hit fresh contract lows throughout the week. The slew of catch-up export data released over the last month has done little to excite markets. Recent buzz over possible export sales to China has died down, which added weight to the move lower. Chinese trade negotiations seem to be progressing rapidly, with political pressures pushing the president to get a deal done. Reports late in the week are that the U.S. and China are in the final stages of negotiating an executive order to be signed by both parties, which would include IP protections and commitments by China to reduce the trade deficit with the U.S. Soybeans were supported enough by the news to at least resist spillover pressure from the move in corn and wheat, as well as pressure from favorable forecasts in South America. For more market information, go to michiag.com. With Michigan Agricultural Commodities, I'm Chris Betts.
For more news and video, visit MichiganFarmNews.com and the Michigan Farm Bureau channel on YouTube. With Farm News 5, I'm Janelle Brose. Have a great week of farming.